Welcome to another episode of URC Chumps podcast. Unfortunately, Jacques is having some internet problems, but I have Tim, Van, and Mario Stander. How are you two guys doing here so far?
I'm good. I'm good. And thanks for having me again.
Yeah.
I'm good, Anthony. Thanks for
Uh,
asking.
this is the show where we talk about the disappointments of the weekend and the highs and the lows and the wink gates and everything else like that. Cramping up. We'll try cramp it all up into one episode today. But yes, yeah. I mean, talking about that, let's get this all going right now. I mean, it has been one hell of a week. Lots of crying backwards and forwards and everything like this. But it is 11 days. It is 11 days to go to the final.
Very exciting.
It is do or die right now. You done, and everything like that. As you can see, this is what the results look like. Starting off with the weekend, yeah, unfortunately, Stormers threw it away, but we'll talk about that a bit more. Leinster coming on top that we're expecting. Bulls on top along with the Sharks as well, which was, like I said, a bit of a cramp up and a bit of a wing gate going on there. But starting off the weekend, I'm going to be honest, I was literally, like I said, one try shouldn't have stood, probably because I was so amped up into the game. I was kind of like looking for everything wrong with Andrew Brace, which I can't blame him. Probably the first 20 minutes were, but after that, it was all good. But the Stormers threw it away. We literally just decided to say goodbye. We're booking our ticket home.
Yeah, I agree. It's like only Sonata pitched up in that game.
And he still got a yellow card.
Yeah, for my side, I just thought we were just, I said it before, we were just outplayed in every single facet of the game. It was actually very, very disappointing. It was unfortunate, but it happens. Stormers are still a good side. They still are my team, so I'll still remain a Stormer at heart. It was tough on the weekend. Yeah.
No, it was tough. I will be honest. It was tough to watch it as a supporter and everything. Unfortunately, our stats came to haunt us. The fact that we were bottom of the stats when it comes to defensive points and everything like that, it just, we weren't looking that great, and it literally came to bite us in the butt. And yeah, they took the opportunities that came, and we literally just didn't pitch up.
Yeah, actually,
unfortunately, yeah.
Sorry to chip in. Now that you actually say about the stats, it kind of reminds me of the 2012 Stormers season, where they basically go the whole year unbeaten, top of the log. But because they couldn't score tries that year, and there was Alistair Coetzee, I think, then they had to score a try in the final 10 against the Sharks to beat the Sharks in the home semi-final. And also, yet again, stats came back to haunt them in that match.
Yep. No, it unfortunately that's our biggest monkey on our shoulder. It's the elephant in the room. It's there's always that stat that lets us down in the end, and let it be in a quarterfinal, semi-final, or final. It's that one thing that comes down to bite us. And unfortunately, like I said, it came down to that. Also, we also were getting injured a lot quicker in that game. I think it's taking a toll. I mean, Murat went off with the HIA. We had Dan du Plessis go off with his shoulder. Then we also had who was it? Hartzenberg go off as well, which then put Herschel Yankees, though the pundits at the beginning of the game called him Herschel Gibbs, on the wing. So there was a bit of out of position play, but yeah, it still came back to bite us. I don't think, unfortunately, that is the horrors of a 6-2 and a 7-1 split. If something like that goes the wrong way on the injury side, it comes back to bite you, and it just so happened to be that day as well. But yeah,
Yeah,
Honestly,
that's good.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we had a lot of injuries, but I don't think it would have helped. They were just
yeah.
better than us. Yeah,
No,
I mean,
I
fair
agree.
play to them. Fair play to them. They
Yeah,
turned up. We didn't. So credit for credit's due.
yeah.
That's true.
This game, which was a bit surprising, the fact that it looked like Edinburgh was running away with it, and then
Yeah,
Bulls
I got a
Bulls
shock.
just was like,
A
no,
shock.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was shocked.
yeah, I was also. I mean, it's almost looking like we're gonna have a repeat of last year, but we know that's not going to happen, which we'll discuss a bit more. But yeah, some quick points from the Bulls just completely turned it around, and they got on top of it. It would have been nice to see the Fundamava versus Fundamava, but that didn't happen because, of course, 200 didn't play. But yeah, I bet you Pierre Skuman at the same time is quite happy having a bit of a bittersweet moment where he lost, but his team won at the same time, being the fact that he
Yeah.
grew up playing for the Bulls.
Yeah.
I think Edinburgh should be happy. They had a very good game. The same with,
I
we would speak
thought,
about Scarlets also now, but they gave the Bulls a proper scaring there at that stage.
Yeah, no, I mean Edinburgh has to. I think everybody in this stage of the this past weekend should hold their heads high of where they ended up. I mean, no, we can't say the Stormers can be proud of the attempt that they had, but I think the fact that the log ended with these top 8, everybody should, before the end of the week, this past weekend, should have walked off feeling a lot. How can I say? Impressed of where they were sitting, the fact that they've made it into the top 8, considering how tight the race was. But yeah,
That's true.
then the game we kind of expected to go was a little bit closer than I was expecting, but yeah, it was a little bit closer, but Leinster got their revenge on Scarlets this game. So yeah, I actually didn't watch it. To be honest, I was prepping for 14-hour load shedding due to maintenance in my area. But yeah,
I actually watched the second half, and Scarlets were in that game. It was that yellow card that
100%.
derailed them.
100%. I actually thought Scarlets played really well.
They did.
I mean,
they honestly did play very good.
Considering the state of Welsh rugby as well, the fact that they ended in the top 8, they should be very proud. That should be a win for them straight out off the bat right there. And unfortunately, going up against the likes of Leinster, who've only lost 2 games this year, and of course, one being against the Scarlets themselves, yeah, need to hold their head high. They did a lot better than some of the other teams away.
Yeah, and also to be honest, both of that losses were not their full first team.
Yeah. No, true. But yeah, I mean, there we go. Now, this game, I couldn't watch. I was backwards and forwards. I was on, I was off. I then watched Conor Murray slotted for a penalty at the end to get it to 24-24. I watched the extra time. I then watched the penalty kicks.
Yep.
This game was brutal.
Fantastic game, though.
It wasn't.
It reminded me. It reminded me of last year's semi-final, the 40-40 against the Bulls in the Currie Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though we now need to talk about the elephants on the field. Sharks, yes, they won that game. However, I do believe the Sharks' way that they carried themselves in that game was not the right way. I do think the way that they were carrying on and everything like this was probably a bit wrong. Starting off with Jaden Hendrickson, already chirping Jack Crowley before he even took his first kick, to the point that the ref actually had to tell him to step away and just not get involved and actually just let him take his kick.
So we can have a debate because I'm going to be opposing that, and I think that's one thing sport has. All sports that's growing, soccer, for example, they have that controversy. They have that beef. You have your Messi Ronaldo debate. You have the goalkeeper chirping the 2022 final, actually, where the Argentina goalkeeper was chirping the French players, Mbappe, I think.
Martinez.
I'm not 100% sure. But you need that in rugby as well. You need that talking points, because here we are talking about it at the end of the day. And it's moments like this that, not every game, I'm not saying every game, but it needs some controversy and some banter on the field. Like in cricket, that happens. You
No,
know already, if you want to watch the India Australia match, you're gonna hear some nice stuff on the mic, on the stump mics.
but I mean, okay, fair enough. But I think it boiled over a bit too much. But at the same time, I will say it probably lit the fuse a lot quicker and exploded a lot quicker due to the nature of the game.
Yeah,
Because it was a do or die and everything like this, a hotel here in Cape Town was already planning for Munster to come and stay with them for the week here in Cape Town, which, to be honest, I was like, why the hell are you going to come to Cape Town when you should actually go straight to Pretoria? But anyway, bad planning on their side, to be honest. But yeah. However, what happened before the second kick, I do think is also what really sparked it off. I do think Jack Crowley was probably a bit too wanting to be a bit too quick to take the kick. There was
yeah,
photographic evidence that showed there was a cramp and a half for on Hendrickson and everything like this.
yes,
But I do think there was maybe a bit too much pressure. Also, the fact that Munster had missed the kick, which wasn't anyone's fault except for the kick itself.
yes.
Uh,
And also
which I,
to go back to that, the camp, and like in a normal rugby match, when a player camps on the field, he's being treated on the field. You never take a person with a medical condition away if you can treat it on the field. That's in the law of the game. So I won't
yeah,
say you should have walked away, because they never do that. When you camp on the field, you camp on the field. If play is there, play is there.
yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you watch, you see him take the kick and take a couple of steps back and then cramp and then fall down. It wasn't like a cramp and then walk to the position and fall down. It was literally like 1, 2, and you see him already like straight out trying to get the cramp out before they came and helped him
Yes.
off, helped him up. And you don't really want to move the player as quick, because I mean there is the chances of injuring, because even though it is a cramp, you just move a bit too quick, you can pull it a bit more than it should be.
Yeah.
Luckily for the Sharks, other Hendrickson and Williams, I think it was, or I forgot the guy's name.
David.
David, yeah. It didn't miss and they got it over, because the next kick would have been the halfway line.
Okay. Can I say my piece on this quickly?
Yeah.
So from my side, the sort of banter beforehand, I kind of understand it. It's a tight situation. Tempers are maybe a bit on edge. And also, I have to agree, there needs to be some sort of banter between players on the field. Yes, maybe it shouldn't have gone as far as it did. Maybe, I don't know what was said. However, it's a little bit of mind play, fine. As for the cramp, 100% was a cramp. No denying it. He wasn't faking. So the winking was just him being himself. So I don't believe anything about that.
He's a
He
scrum
was
half.
cramping. Yeah, exactly. But however, there was definitely some gameplay by the Sharks. They sent on, flipping like 7 physios to treat a cramp. So like there wasn't, it wasn't complete, and he could have. We've all played rugby. We've all received cramps. We all know that you can just freaking hobble like 5 meters to the left or right. He doesn't have to. And the ref said to Crowley, you've got all the time in the world. Don't worry about it. So why he kicked up such a stuff about it, I don't know. The rest really told him, relax. You've got all the time in the world. You don't have to kick while this guy's here. So it doesn't have to be a big deal. It turned into a big deal because Crowley lost his head a little bit. But from my side of things, was he faking? No. Did he have to move? No. Could he have moved? Probably yes. Did the Sharks intentionally send on so many people to treat a cramp? Definitely. 100% that was a bit of gameplay. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it. You know, it's a part. It's in the rules. It's in the rules. And again, had the ref said you still got freaking a minute to kick this ball over the poles and the Sharks guys are still in, that's an issue. But the ref didn't. He said, right, clear as day, don't worry, you've got all the time in the world to kick the ball.
Yeah. And I actually think where the people about the ref there, where people were on the ref's case was they were like talking to the ref, why did you allow it? I think the ref handled it perfectly because
I think so too.
like I said, you leave a player with a cramp stays on the field. It's not carried off or driven off. It's never been like that. And if play comes there, the ref stops the play. You sort out the play, it continues. So a medical condition, a ref is not a medical doctor. So you can't take a decision of a doctor on the field. And he also didn't allow Crowley to kick under pressure while the people were next to him, which is fair play, because that would have been unfair if he did that.
Correct.
And
but that's also my point. Yeah, sorry, before you get to your final
I just wanted to say... so that's Jaden Hendricks as scrum off. Just imagine if these guys were playing with George Gregan.
Very Redfoo. But I mean, but you mentioned it as well, which is kind of where I got to the point where I can kind of see where people are also getting upset with Hendricks. Was he came and said, that's enough, stop it, and walked him away from Crowley before Crowley took his first case with the comments. So I think that's also why everybody's jumping on the Hendricks thing and everything like that. I do understand that it needs to be a bit of play, but when the ref says that's enough, because he understands this game is cutthroat, that like a little comment can cause a brawl from both sides.
I agree.
And I mean,
I have to ask you a question. So the camera angle was from behind Hendricks with Crowley's back turned, right? Do you really think Crowley's being quiet and behaving himself and not saying anything back to Hendricks at this point?
Yeah,
and also
fair point, but we didn't catch it.
If say it's enough.
Yeah,
they say it's enough, but nowhere in the rule books is you're not allowed to banter, because then believe me, there's going to be a yellow
Joe
card before
Marler. But I mean, Joe Marler would have been banned for life.
No, but think about this. Think of Curbs. Think about this. Yeah. When the hooker's just about throwing the ball, and the opposition hooker stands in there and tells him he's going to throw skew, and you know what, that's allowed. So if I'm going to tell like he's going to kick and miss, and he's useless, and his kick his rate is 60%, and he's only 60% for the day, or whatever. What's the difference?
We all know Conor Murray and Mo, that captain of the Munster, can't pronounce his name now, what he told
Peter
Sam Kane in the All Black match a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
no, fair enough. Yeah, but sorry, just before you carry on, Tim. But I mean, that's fair enough. That's why I also say, like, you saw the ref control it before it got to the point. Like, during the game, I understand there's always the back and forth because you want to get into. But this is at that point, it was so cutthroat. Like, that makes or breaks careers as a kicker in that scenario. And you already saw him like, okay, that's enough, you go there. And I think you even saw him like tell Crowley, you go there afterwards to make sure that they were apart. So obviously something was said by a physio, or he made a comment wanting to rush the whole process, which then caused a retaliation comment back from the Sharks thing, which then of course caused him to absolutely lose his mind.
Yeah, look, I
Yeah.
honestly don't think the physios have got no place to say anything on the field. I think they need to treat the players, and they should not interact with the opposition whatsoever. I think it's shocking from the physio side of things.
No,
Yeah,
agreed.
that I can agree with. But
I think that's
Excuse
where the
me?
issue came in, was someone from the coaching or the physio had said something. We've already seen referees tell physios, that's it.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear
I'm
anything else
sorry.
from you.
I'm a firm believer. Physio is a physio. You must, if you interact with the players, especially an opposition player, then I'm sorry, you must be fined or suspended or whatever. I think
Yeah.
it's not on.
I do
It's one
understand
thing.
passing on messages from the
Passing on
coaches
message is
to
fine,
yeah.
but if
Yeah.
it's if it's a player having a go at a player, it's fine. But if it's a physio having a go at the opposition, I think that's absolutely shocking.
yeah.
And vice
also,
versa, because we've had an issue where a player went off at a physio as well.
Yeah, I mean, of course, what's
Yeah.
it must be vice versa. It's just a respect
Yeah.
thing, you know.
Yes.
It's the rugby. Yeah,
yes.
it's that spirit.
Yeah, we don't want the game to turn into a football match where there's
Correct.
faking and stuff like that
Correct.
and yelling at referees. I know Rappi don't want it to go to that level, and we all agree we don't also want to go to that level where you get a yellow card and 15 minutes around the referee yelling at him.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I think this is where rugby's got it right. Is there's already a lot, and I mean, yeah, these refs get a lot of, how can I say, banter back and forth from people. Let it be in personal life, on social media, you name it. They almost have to be let it just flow off their back.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do think the ref handled the whole situation very well. Unfortunately, it blew up in that scenario. I cannot put the blame on one person because we do not hear the full thing. I, however, do think Sharks maybe overpacked a single injury scenario. I think it was even Plumtree was on the field with them.
Yes. Okay, but to be fair, Plumtree and who was it, Neil Powell, the director, they were on the field because they didn't know the procedure. So there was an angle before the kicking where they were with the paper seeing where the spots are to kick from. So that is why they were on the field in the first place, to prepare the players where you are kicking from and how it works.
No. That's fine. But the fact that Plumtree was with
That is
Jaden,
actually showed up at the Jaden. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, because I still remember the three of them standing around there with Etzebeth also giving them a talk about obviously motivation. But the fact that Plumtree, and I think it was like 4 physios around Hendrickson,
Yeah.
one holding each foot, one holding ice pack, and Plumtree himself, I think that was maybe a bit overkill. 2 is probably all you needed there. And
so I want to ask you guys, when the kicking contest happened, of the 3 Sharks players, who did you think were
Fussy.
a big? You thought Fassi should have been there?
I thought Fussy was going to be the option, except for like that bringing on Davids was a bit of a shock. I mean, what was it? 30 seconds left in the second half of extra time, and he got pulled in.
Yeah.
That
was your classic football move where the new goalkeeper comes on the last second of the match.
Yeah.
100%.
So when I saw that, I didn't know he was going to kick. But when Jordan kicked, I didn't stress at all. I knew he was slotting his kicks because he's good under pressure.
Jaden's a fantastic goal kicker. Both the Hendrickses are really good goal kickers. So for me, I haven't seen too much of David, so I wasn't 100% sure how that would go. And to be fair, it wasn't the best strike, but it was straight. So that's all that counts.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's why I said
good on him.
I thought it would be the Hendrickson brothers and Fussy going for the kicks. And,
yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that one kick that Munster missed, it is a little bit of a difficult kick. It's on the 22, on the 15. It's not the easiest kick to slot over. Not every single person gets it. Not Dan Carter didn't get that kick every single time.
No.
He missed it a few times.
Yes, and like I think every single goal kicker has missed those kicks. I do
Yeah,
think everyone kicked actually was fantastic kicking. It wasn't a bad kick that he missed. It was still a very fantastic kick because on the camera on the TV it did look like actually it was over. You just heard the crowd roar, then you okay, it was not over.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I think it was a good game. It came down to the wire. Unfortunately, the way it ended didn't look nice, and of course, the way that the media overdid everything. I mean, it's like when you heard Bongi say Whiteside in the semi-final, how the English media just blew that up now. But of course, because Ireland got knocked over, all the UK tabloids are like, "Oh no, sharks, 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 sharks," not actually
Yeah,
realizing, hey, wait,
yeah. I mean,
they
Jaden is
threw
the
away
hero.
opportunities. Yeah,
He's getting the same what Rico was getting now, basically.
yeah, and not to the fact that Munster threw away points. They gave away points during the game that it got to that situation. They didn't capitalize on a couple of the mistakes that the Sharks made. So unfortunately, yeah. But we could talk forever about Wingate and Cramp-Gate and try cramp it all into this, but we can talk until the cows go home and the Sharks swim upstream and everything like that. But this weekend coming, we've got the defending the title happening right now with Leinster hosting Glasgow and Vodacom Bulls hosting the Sharks. It is going to be one hell of a game right now. I know Glasgow's playing for pride right now because they want to show that title defense. Unfortunately, that title defense will be again in South Africa. We're going to have to wait and see. And they have to take on the mighty Leinster. And I mean, right now, Leinster look like they're just cruising. And if they're going to go into a different gear, it's going to be complete and utter mayhem.
Yeah.
It depends on the team they pick.
They're going to go full strength. Right now, the next two games, full
But
strength.
are they going to do the same mistake they made in the semi-final against Northampton Saints, where they bench Jordie Barrett? Jordie Barrett is by far the best centre in the world at the moment.
That's the thing is, what are they going to do? I reckon they're going to go full strength. They've made the mistake with Northampton. And yeah. Also, what is the contract with Jordie Barrett also state? That's the thing is, was there a
End of the
clause
season.
that? No, but I'm talking about playing time.
Oh, that I'm not sure about that, but yeah, I was surprised they didn't pick him in that semi-final against Northampton. And like I said, I do believe personally he's the best centre in the world at the moment. And if they
Unless you
pick
got
him,
Peter Steph in your
Leinster
team.
will win. Say again?
Yeah. Unless you got Peter Steph in your team, then he's not the best centre in the world.
No, I mean I'm centre.
no, but that's what I said. Unless you got
Oh
Peter
yeah,
Steph in your
Steph
side.
has his number.
I think Leinster are going to be too strong for Glasgow in the end. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be within 8 to 10 points swing. Leinster will.
Well, we'll have a look at what Mario says according to the AI stats there later on. But Bulls, I think the Sharks are coming to the end. The Bulls right now look like they just got things clicking together for them. In fact, the Bulls right now, according to the stats on Super Brew, have won the past 7 matches are on the bar. They're the only ones with a full green bar right now. So
Yeah.
they are on a 7-game winning streak right now, which is pushing them higher. The fact that they've already made some big signings is also making them, a lot of those guys playing for the fact that they need to play for their position next year. They just signed the likes of Marvin Ori. They They've got Andre Pollard coming back. I mean, they've got guys that are really hard players to push out of a team coming into the side. I think Ori's coming back to get back into the Springboks side. Unfortunately, unable to get back into the Stormers because Stormers, still fighting financial woes. But that is. But this week.
I'm excited for this one now.
Yeah. This week, this title being on the line, if Leinster or when Leinster beats Glasgow, Leinster literally has the top position for. They're the number one pick to win because they've literally dethroned the current champions.
I still think if you look on paper, purely going by paper, Sharks have got a better side.
That is true. Yeah.
I will predict the Sharks to win with 12 points this weekend against the Bulls and Leinster to win with 12 against. I think this is going to be a close game, but then at the end, the Sharks is going to they love scoring that breakaway try. Just that Ethan Hooker brilliance. They have that glimpses what they can actually do. And I think they will score 5 points ahead with 7 minutes to go. Then they're going to score a breakaway try to make it a 12.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to go opposite to you. I'm going to say Bulls 29. And Bulls 29, Sharks 22.
Is this the year the Sharks get payback for the 2007 Super Rugby final?
Yeah, they still need to do that.
For me, I'm a Stormers supporter. I don't mind who wins as long as they go on to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I want the South African side to win the entire thing. So,
but
whether it be the Bulls or the Sharks, for me, I don't mind. It's not the Stormers, so it's not my favorite, but I am South African, and I would love a South African franchise to win it.
So as you can see, if Leinster and Bulls win their games, that is the final. If Leinster wins and Sharks win, this is the final. If Sharks lose to the Bulls and Glasgow somehow manages to beat Leinster, they're going to have to travel up to Pretoria for us. And of course, this is whoever wins now, which is it's tight. And how is it going to go? I mean, these are the previous last 10 head-to-heads for each team right now. Leinster have won more at home and away, where Glasgow hasn't even won away to Leinster. This is probably going to be something that's going to be in the back of their
happening. Sure.
Yeah. Then, with the Bulls and Sharks, the last 10 is 50-50. Both have won 2 away and both have won home 3 times. However, another stat which I haven't got in here, which I tried to find the picture for again, was this year in round 8, and I think it was also round 11, Sharks played the Bulls, and both of those games they won. It was close calls, but they won. That could be
and the thing
in
is
the
also
Bulls. Yeah.
Of Leinster, they played both Glasgow also 2 times this year and also won both of the matches. One very far and one better.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's where you see it. They've played 8. They've won 6 at home and 2 away, where Glasgow have only won 2 at home against. But this is the one that's going to be a lot more closer. Right now, it's close as how which way it goes, we don't know. And I mean, these are the results that you pulled up for us regarding from AI's predictions. Leinster going up by
close.
1 try, and the Bulls taking it by 8.
Yeah, it's between 8 and 10.
Yeah.
That's close to your
not be
prediction.
putting money.
Yeah, it is very close. It is very close.
I'm not putting any money on this weekend. I'm not even
No,
going.
you
I'm just
can't.
gonna
I
say,
mean, my prediction
yeah.
is it's just a prediction. The Sharks could be rampant. They could just all connect, and yeah, that's the beauty of rugby.
And
Glasgow
it's the
could go
same.
to Leinster
Yeah,
and smash Leinster. You know, who knows what's going to happen? It's awesome,
but I
and that's
mean,
why I love this game.
there's that stat that I keep bringing up and everything, which could be the elephant in the room for Leinster, being the fact that who's ever finished first on the log in the
Correct.
regular season hasn't
Correct.
won.
Has never won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh,
this
but
could is this the year that they break it, or is this the year that's
Hey, man.
yeah?
like, I want the Sharks to win, but my mind says Leinster's got to win. Like all the other years, Leinster always been in the semi-final and the final of the Champions Cup. So
Yeah.
they, at the end of the season, I think that's where they make the biggest mistake. Is they switch the teams just too much. The teams are not clicking at the end of the season anymore. Hence, they lose both of the trophies. Last year, Munster were a little bit too cocky. I think they already advertised the final at home in Munster before they even won the semi-final. I remember that was in the backgrounds. Um,
But they were also
you can't be
defending
that.
it last year.
That's overconfidence.
Yeah.
And I do think Leinster now being out of the Champions Cup a little bit earlier, now only sole focus on the URC, will help them. They have a lot of international stars in Archie Snyman and Jody Barrett, for example. Because obviously
No.
your ring rows.
You need to say the Irish MVP of the year being Arceus Neymar.
Yes. So the only factor I can think that can play in cause to derail them is players will play safe not to get injured, so they ensure they don't miss out on the Lions series.
Yeah, this
But
is
that
what
comes
I
back to
said.
our
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Hmm.
I was going to say, you've also said it. We discussed it in one of the episodes where Glasgow and Leinster both have players that are lining up for the Lions. Like, this is going to be hardcore. Whereas the Bulls and Sharks have players that could be in the Springboks squad, but some of the guys know that they are definite Springboks. Some of the guys know that they're just hanging on the fringes and everything. Might be a show that they put up their hand, but also at the same time, it's where they're going to go all out because they know they're going to go all out
Yeah.
to go play in the final. Where Leinster and Glasgow, because it's this year that is a Lions tour, could be the downfall and what causes a couple of the players to go like, instead of going into that ruck, could be a bit, ooh, no, you know what, I'm just going to step back a bit.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to step back a bit. So,
Yeah.
Because to go back to your point, if you are Rusty Erasmus, you are most certainly going to be watching the Bulls versus the Sharks, and you're going to be
definitely.
saying, and the players are going to know that Rusty's going to be watching them, and there is such tight competition because we've got such depth in South Africa. Competition for positions in the starting lineup in the Springboks is fierce. If you look, how many hookers we have, how many locks we have, how many flanks we have, it's ridiculous. So competition's fierce. So a game like this, both sides are going to go hammer and tong at each other. They've got points to prove. Yeah, I mean, sure. You look at someone like Hanekom and you look at even Peterson from the Sharks. You know, all these guys have got points to prove. So
Well, I also
No,
think like you say now, and also one player that I think is under our radar, but Rassi definitely have an eye on him is Ethan Hooker.
Yep.
He had a very good season.
I think he's very good. I think he's very, very good.
No, Ethan Hooker right now, fantastic. He falls under that mindset that Rusty wants because not only can he play wing, he can also play center. Which means when it comes to the 6-2, the 7-1 split, it works in his favor. I mean, I just finished watching Chasing the Sun too, and it showed that meeting that they had with Cheslin before. and they were discussing if someone gets injured, who they're gonna. They're like 9. We have a problem at 9, and they're like, yeah, but Cheslin. They called Cheslin. They're like, Chesy, listen, if this had to happen and we played this, would you be okay playing 9? Don't just say yes. We want you to be confident. And he said, I just need to run a few drills and I'll be fine. And he was like, cool. But then what did we see this year? We saw Cheslin playing 9 while Reinach was playing like 10 with Pollard also at like an extra 10. So we played with 2 10s off a scrum. We've seen Cheslin do line-out throws this year as well.
Yeah.
We're being a lot
I mean,
more
we saw in the World
experimental.
Cup. We saw in the World Cup where Reinach passed the ball to Jaden. Jaden passed it to was it Grant Williams to score a try. 3 number 9s in a.
We had all 4 9s in the team. Yeah,
in the team.
I mean, I think Fuff was also covering 10 at one stage as well.
Yes.
Everybody looked at Rusty like, what the hell are you doing playing all 4 9? But Grant Williams, not only was he there as a scrummy, he was also there as cover for wing because he's played wing a couple of times. I think Nohamba's unfortunately fallen off the radar this year with injuries and so forth, but I think he would be a great contender for a Springbok jersey because not only can he play 9, he can play 10. Unfortunately, when it comes to defense against the likes of a New Zealand or something like that, he wouldn't be the number 1 pick because those guys are so big. But now coming against like Italy and Georgia and the Barbars, he would be a perfect person to slot in at 9 and 10 to rest the likes of a Sasha, Marnie.
The Georgians are bigger than the New Zealanders, bro.
Yes, but unfortunately, the handling skills aren't as great.
They're getting better, but as a physical side, that that is a massive pack of forwards.
Yeah, I mean Georgia and Portugal are pretty up and coming in World Rugby.
Yeah.
No, listen, I'm not trying to underestimate it, but those are the kind of games that you would allow him to play. Whereas the championship games against the likes would be a little bit harder, or he would be a lot more out on the fringes, waiting for the backline players more than the forwards. But we'd have to see what Russie's. That man has got so many plans up his sleeve. It's not even funny when you listen to him talk.
You will literally sit with all the scenarios and then he will still surprise you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as I said to someone in the one game when I was looking at the guy, like, what is Russie thinking with this lineup? And then we were discussing it, and I was like, dude, imagine if we thinking, what the hell is Russie thinking? Imagine what the opposition must be thinking at this point. We're looking at the lineup, going like, what is up with this guy's mind? Like, what is he thinking? What is the game plan? Whereas, like, you see Marnie on the bench, you'll be like, okay, cool. So second half is going to be flat kicks and territorial kicks, where Pollard in the first half is just manning it, getting the ball forward. If you see someone like Willems on the bench, you're like, okay, cool. He's just playing it safe that he can have someone at 12, 15, or 10. Same thing with Sasha. But like, there was one or two like, what are you thinking? Like, what are your plans in this game? Like,
but he's next level, huh?
No, he's next level. I mean,
I watched a documentary, and Pollard was talking about Russie back in the day, and they had the stadium like 2 hours before the opposition, and Pollard says that Russie had made fake line-out call sheets and move sheets, and then left them under tables and under chairs and stuff
in the bathrooms.
And he said, Pollard says, true as God, warming up, we look behind us, and they are practicing the fake line-up moves that were underneath them. Rusty had made a whole section of fake moves and printed and just left it around for opposition. That's hilarious, man. That's
the one story. The one story where Rusty got outplayed was when he was coaching, and he had the lights, And he says with the Bulls,
Yeah.
they changed the wiring.
Yeah, so when you push
when
the
you-
green one, the red one went on.
Yeah, and the players are like, red, okay, cool, red. And then he's like, what? I'm pushing it. And then you realize when you push that they're like, oh, you bastards. He had to like quickly figure out which one was which. And then like, okay, cool, there we go.
Yeah, they changed the wiring. That's hilarious, man. Oh,
Yeah.
you can love it.
But it shows you how ahead of it he was thinking. And I mean, like, yeah, then he had the individual light which he was holding, and people like, oh, robot. And then I don't know if you've seen the Switch energy drink, Tim. So they made a joke of Russie and Jacques going through school together.
Yes, I've seen this, yeah.
Yeah, Jacques writing
Yeah.
exams, and there's Russie going with the robot saying, flip, yeah. But we are going into the semi-finals. We will definitely be following that. We will talk about it, and we'll talk about the finals. And then we will definitely look into who's being transferred to where, what other news is happening around the world in rugby, especially with the build-up to the internationals being like the Barbars, the Lions, the incoming tour for us, and the championship. This episode being number 41, only 11 away from a full year of doing this podcast. So it's been one hell of a ride. Having new people like Tim and Mario join us along the way. Unfortunately, Jacques not being able to make it tonight. And Dara, who is MIA at the moment. Hopefully everything's right, Dara. But yes, guys, I just want to say thank you very much to the listeners. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Let's grow this. Push that bell notification to get notifications every time we put up a new episode. And remember, champions, be safe.